So I've been pinning pretty much consistently for the last 3 months on Pinterest, and I know Pinterest is a long-term game, but I found myself getting a little overwhelmed with how much time and energy it took to create and actually pin pins on Pinterest. As fun as it is and how much I did enjoy it in the beginning, and I was starting to see a lot of traction. I even made a couple of sales through Pinterest pins specifically, but what I decided to do was actually outsource this part of my business. So what I did was I went onto Fiverr and I found somebody to take over this aspect of my business, and I completely regret it. Welcome to episode 38 of the Candle Business Podcast. If this is your first time joining me here today, hello, my name is Erica, and I run my own small candle business with my husband, Chris. We also have a wonderful 1.5-year-old boy who is very all over the place and keeps me on my toes 24/7. So I'm very busy outside of this, and if you hear any noise, that is probably what you are hearing in the background. But today's episode, I wanted to dive into the topic of outsourcing and Pinterest, and I haven't really dove too much into that on my podcast or on my YouTube channel recently. And that's because I'm fairly new with it. So I've only been pinning on Pinterest for the last 3 months. And definitely over the last couple of weeks, I have not been as diligent with making sure that I'm pinning every day. So my views and impressions on my pins have completely dropped down low. I was building a lot of momentum, but it's just a lot of work to keep pinning pins. So what I want to do in today's episode is just brainstorm with you and just kind of share a little bit of a story in a way of an experience I had with hiring somebody to take over this and why I regret it, and then what I'm going to be doing moving forward. So if you're interested in Pinterest or how that all works, I am going to be making follow-up videos once I gather a little bit more information and know a little bit more of what I'm doing, or I could just maybe show the back end just to show you what I have been doing. But what I wanted to do today is, I'm not going to lie, vent a little bit because I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated for the reason that I feel like this Fiverr seller is not being honest or was not honest from the beginning. So essentially what happened was I've been making my own pins and pinning on Pinterest. I have my strategy. I have the way that I like to design the pins. I have my branding, and I know exactly how I want to do things. So what I had to do once I found somebody on Fiverr to be able to take over this task for me was I had to let them into my Canva as well as my Pinterest business account. And what's really nice is if you get to the point where you can hire somebody for a specific task. So this is kind of like a VA role, essentially. So it's a virtual assistant task. And a lot of online platforms will have the ability for you to add on some kind of team member or employee or VA to your account. So for instance, I know you can do this on Instagram. You can do it on Shopify, Canva, Pinterest. There's a lot of other places that you can have essentially a VA to come on and help you. And that is what I needed. So I was really excited to have this task completely outsourced. And all I needed to do was just kind of have a little bit of that. I didn't want to micromanage, but just kind of hover a little bit. Check in every day, see how it's going, see how the pins look, see if it's something that I resonate with my brand. So I gave her the templates that I use. I gave her the fonts. I gave her all the photos to use from my candles. And I just kind of let her get started with everything. So I checked in after the first couple of days and everything looked okay. I mean, the pins that she was pinning was fine. It was a little bit different of a variation than what I had been doing, but I thought that's totally fine because I have to be able to, kind of step outside of what I would typically do to see if it gains any more traction. And I just kind of, wanted to watch kind of pop in a little bit, almost like a fly on the wall, just to check it out. And what I noticed after the next day was that there were a handful of pins that she created where it was incorrect. So the name, the words on the pin was incorrect from the actual candle. So for instance, if it was our Saturday morning cartoons candle, the title would say lavender and rosemary candles. So obviously that's incorrect. So I wasn't really angry about it. I just kind of wanted to let her know. I know there's little details like that is very important to be aware of. But I kind of understand getting started and not really being familiar with our product collection yet. So I just sent her a message and I just said, hey, just wanted you to be aware of these couple of mistakes that I did find. And she said, thank you for telling me. I'll go fix it. And then what I started noticing was a rapid growth in terms of saves on the pins that she specifically was creating. And when I looked at, so basically I would log onto Pinterest and it would, in the little bell icon, so the notifications, it would show like 10 to 20 different notifications for me to look at. So I would click on it and it would show me all at the same time, the same names would pop up that was saving those specific pins at the same times, the same people on all the pins. And at first I was like, oh, wow, okay. Like that's pretty cool. I guess, because what she was doing was she was actually adding hashtags into the description. And that hasn't been something that I have been doing because, again, I'm not extremely familiar with the platform. I am a little bit more now with my strategy, but I have not played around with using hashtags. So I thought, okay, well, maybe it's like hashtags. Maybe I haven't been using hashtags and that's what's gotten like this rapid growth. So what I have noticed in my own patterns is that it takes a few weeks for pins to really kind of take off if they're going to take off. So I had a pin that did really well, ended up getting about 10,000 impressions and about 60 to 70 saves. And I actually got a sale from that pin as well. And that took probably 3 to 4 weeks for it to finally start, showing and gaining that traction. And that's been the pattern that I've noticed. Pinterest is a very long-term game. So when I started noticing these weird patterns coming in, it was just this weird feeling that I was getting. And so what I did was I screenshotted what my notifications were telling me and I sent her a photo and I said, oh, also, are you part of some kind of Pinterest group or something? Because I'm thinking, okay, is this kind of like fake ones where it's like a group of people and they tell them, okay, go save this pin or whatever it is. And she said, no, I'm not a part of any Facebook group. It may just be that, the pins are trending or performing really well or whatever. And it was very strange because, the metrics, the analytics did not add up whatsoever. So if I was only getting like 60 to 100 impressions for the day, I would still be getting like 50 to 100 saves among the different pins. It just did not make any sense. I'm like, okay, this is not okay. I don't like the way that I'm feeling about this. I feel like this is inauthentic. She claims that she helps to, grow organically. And so what I did was I decided to go on Google and use my millennial brain and figure this out. So I went onto Google and I wanted to see if this was something that you can do. Can you purchase saves on Pinterest? And you can. I found a website, actually multiple websites, for very, 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 very inexpensive. We're talking a few dollars in order to get hundreds of saves on Pinterest. So, I decided to, before I said anything to her, I took her off of Canva. So I took her off of the employee or the team member section of Canva. And then I took her off as an employee of my Pinterest account. And when I did that, it told me that it may take a couple of hours for that to fully take effect. And then, so I waited. I didn't want to message her right away. So I waited, and then I got a message from her a few hours later saying, did you take me off of your Pinterest account? I can't access it. And I just said, yes, I did. I'm seeing suspicious activity. I've never seen this before. This seems very inauthentic, like it was paid for. And all she said was, I'm here to grow your Pinterest organically. And I kind of followed through with her again, saying that, I found these websites where you're able to actually purchase saves. And this feels like this happened with my account. And she did not deny it at all. She didn't admit to it, but she didn't deny to it. She basically just said something that didn't really make too much sense. But it was, I think what she meant by it was, why are you asking me to do work when you can't do it yourself, or something like that. I don't know. So I know she was probably upset because I did cancel the order. But in my opinion, if she's claiming that it's all organic traffic, and then yet I'm seeing this very, very unusual high amount of saves with low amount of impressions and no clicks on the pins, just saves on the pins, and no outbound clicks at all, which is what you want. You want outbound clicks, which is essentially the person who sees your pin is clicking out of Pinterest onto your website. So I don't care, like in my head, first of all, why does that exist? It kind of reminds me of when people would buy followers, fake followers on Instagram. And I've talked about this before on my channel, that when you are looking to work with somebody on Instagram, you have to make sure that their Instagram account is legit, that they actually have the amount of followers and the kind of engagement that is needed in order for you to pay them money for them to promote your products. Because a lot of times that became a really big deal in kind of the mid to late 2010s, that people would just create these fake profiles with all these fake followers. People would pay them money to promote, and little did they know that they were actually really promoting to really nobody. So this to me kind of feels similar. It feels icky. I don't like it. And I'm still noticing that I think what happens is that she had purchased a certain amount to where whatever new pins would come up, they would immediately get a bunch of repins. And it's just so frustrating because I don't want anything to happen to my business account. I don't want Pinterest to flag my account for basically inauthentic paid whatever is going on with my Pinterest account. So I had looked it up, and it is possible that could happen, that Pinterest could, suspend your account or whatever due to that kind of activity. So I'm just frustrated because I feel like it's my fault because I did trust somebody to kind of come on, but I guess that's how it is when you hire an employee. You really don't know how they're going to be as an employee until you hire them on. So of course, in real life, there's been plenty of people that have hired people and they've stolen from them, or they've, done something behind their back that the owner would have had no idea. So now I'm just trying to move on from all of that and figure out what I need to do now. So I'm not going to jump into hiring anybody else right now for obvious reasons. I'm going to see if this is something that I can figure out on my own. I already understand a little bit more of my Pinterest strategy, how I like my branding of my images and kind of playing around with that. And there's actually a few softwares available. So there's Pin Generator and there's Tailwind. So I'm going to try those out to see if that's something that I can utilize for my Pinterest account. And essentially what those do is those help to create unique pins, and then you can also schedule them out. So you can schedule them to have them post throughout the weeks or throughout the month, and you don't really have to worry about doing it live, because that's actually what I have been doing, is that I don't schedule out pins, I just pin it when I am creating it and uploading it to Pinterest. And this can be something that I almost throw on at the very end of the day. So I'll kind of toss it on as an end of the day task, and I don't want to do that anymore. So I want to have more of a better understanding and strategy working on Pinterest on what I exactly need to do. And I've just been so focused on my Candle Connection course that I kind of let Pinterest just kind of stayed to the wayside. So I'm going to take this next week to really focus on understanding my Pinterest strategy and learning these softwares so that I can get this dialed in, because I already saw the growth with Pinterest after that small amount of time. So I know that it's something that will benefit me in the long run. I just have to stick with it and be really consistent with it. And also, I just wanted to give a quick update on my Candle Connection course before I end today's episode, because I did my live teaching last Thursday to 15 students, and it was so much fun. It was wonderful. I just had such a great time, and the feedback that I got was almost overwhelmingly, like it overwhelmed me in such a good way, because I just know that this course is going to transform so many businesses, and it just made me elated. And I just had to read a couple of the initial responses that I got. So at the very end of the course, somebody said, "It really helped me to know I need to focus more on a target. That will change everything that I do. This is so helpful. I feel I have more of a direction." Somebody else said, "Thanks so much for today, Erica. This was very helpful and informative. I have more understanding of the concepts and confidence in getting started. I've never come across such an in-depth information before. This was wonderful." Somebody else said, "The format is perfect. The material is clearly breaks down how to pinpoint your target audience. The best part for me is realizing how to target my mission and message in my target customer. Thank you, Erica." I mean, just the amount of people saying that it gave them so much more confidence moving forward in their business. They know what to do now. It changed everything. Like, the amount of feedback that I got initially was just so heartwarming to me, and I'm so excited. So I'm really excited to film and be able to put out the final version of the course for you. And if this is something that you feel like you are needing to help with your branding and marketing and finding your target market, you can sign up for the waitlist of it. You can go to ericamariemorris.com/cc waitlist, and I'll be giving more updates as I get this recorded. But again, I'm going to focus the next week on Pinterest, and then I'm going all into recording and getting everything set up for the course to have that ready for you. Because I think that if you are somebody who is either looking to launch your candle business in the next few months, or if you're needing a rebrand, if you're needing to refresh and rebrand your candle business, this course is definitely for you. And I think it's going to be the perfect time, because if I can get this course out by June, then you'll have a few months before fall season comes, and that is candle season. So I think that you'll have plenty of time to implement all of this, get everything ready for your candle business, and really have a really successful fall season. But with that, I think I'm going to end today's episode right here. I know it's kind of a little bit of just almost venting to you and just sharing kind of my experience, not so great experience with somebody on Fiverr. And by the way, I'm not knocking Fiverr, because I have had some really great experiences on there. It's just finding people who are actually, going to be truthful with what they are doing and not doing something shady like purchasing fake saves to try to essentially look like they are doing really well with your growth, when really it's just all fake. So that's not cool. It's just not cool. But with that, I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Candle Business Podcast. I hope it encouraged you as you move forward in your own candle business journey. If you enjoyed today's episode, or if you've been loving the podcast, I would appreciate it so much if you could take just a few moments to give the show a rating and maybe even a written review, so that it can help reach more aspiring business owners just like you. And always remember to spend every day working towards a life that your future self will be proud of.